You're listening to the 4th episode of the Don't Miss This podcast with me, Sam Butler.
And me, Jack Dean Anderson.
Oh, yeah, you went for the full Dean?
Yeah.
You know I have 2 middle names, right, Jack? I've got you beat.
Got me beat, but you didn't say them.
Okay, well, then watch me say them now. Samuel Aardvark Natural Butler.
Nice.
That was the worst improv. I could have thought of 2 better things.
I wanted to start doing a theme song. I wanted to take a beat and start doing like a bum, bum, like
Jack, we're not musically inclined, though. You can't jump in that way.
That's true.
Can't jump in 2 feet first to a skill that you just don't have.
Yeah, no.
And you're the most musically inclined out of the 2 of us.
I do own 4 instruments, and I know how to play none of them. So that's not a good or bad thing. It's just a thing, you know. I would say.
Yeah. You know, I would have been a drummer, but I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah, no, you were forbade from doing that. We
Yeah.
already had one of those in the group.
Yeah. 2 drummers is too many.
2 drummers too many.
We can't have it. The group will fucking shatter its foundations.
Unacceptable.
God, the hierarchy of cliques and standards in elementary school, they were rough.
The key is you got to pick things that nobody's gonna want to play. That way, you're always part of the team. I.e., bass guitar on my part. Nobody was gonna try and play bass.
Yeah, but then it turned out to be one of the cooler ones. So.
Oh, it's my favorite. I love bass.
And it's easy.
Bass. It is very easy.
You learned that 3 Days Grace song.
Animal I have become. Yes,
that's the song. I was something stupid that I've become.
Animal, bro.
Well, you're not that.
I love animals
because Animal is a drummer for the Muppets.
That is true. I'm more like the Swedish Chef. Sammy B, how was your weekend, my friend?
It was all right.
Yeah.
On Saturday, I took my lovely girlfriend out for birthday dinner at Bonefish Grill.
BFG.
Yes. It's a split bottle of wine and had some great fish.
What kind of fish?
I had the seared tuna steak. Mm-hmm. She had Chilean bass.
Nice.
Bass. Slapping that bass.
Slapping the bass, just like we were talking about. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, okay, bass. Here we go.
Hey.
Now we're rolling.
Now we got it.
Now we're sizzling.
Like the friggin' the shrimp. The shrimp, what's it called? The really good shrimp.
Bang shrimp.
Bang Bang shrimp.
Yeah, because
yes.
Bang Bang shrimp is the dank shrimp.
It's the reason you go to Bonefish Grill.
They have a deal on Wednesdays. It's Wednesday, my dude. Ooh. Just go get some Bang Bang shrimp right after this. Just run on over.
Just go. Yep. Just real quick.
3 orders down the hatch.
Easy money. I bet you BFG does DoorDash now.
I don't know about that. Ooh, that'd be something to look into.
BFG does DD.
Ooh.
Yeah, there we go.
DoorDash, Grubhub.
Nice. GH, yes.
Postmates, Uber Eats. There's too many.
There are so many food delivery service things. It's insane because, I wouldn't even say 2 years ago it was a very prevalent thing.
No, Postmates was like a wild concept, and that was like the first one.
Yeah, and now we don't leave our homes anymore.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I mean, I was a Postmates driver for a little bit, just for an extra little bit of Skrilla.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't bad. It's just there's a lot of people doing it because any fucking asshole can just sign up and be like, give me a car, I'll deliver some food.
Yeah, it's like rideshare, It's like, oh, yeah, anybody can be a Lyft driver.
But there are people who are career ones. There were several restaurants that I stopped at and was waiting for stuff, like a Red Robin or something, and I'd see the same people there, back 2 or 3 times.
Damn,
and I'm like,
really?
wow, I can't get away from this restaurant. And it's like, well, neither do these people, and they don't want to. It's their job. They come in professional with the bag and everything.
Yeah.
I just grab the shit and leave. I didn't bring in the heat bag. I put that in the car. I didn't think it mattered.
Gotcha.
Now they're like DoorDash, fucking Uber, fucking Postmates. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
People are in it. People,
doubt.
Lyft people.
Yeah, no, man, I'll tell you, there's so many Lyft drivers and Uber drivers I've met are just pure. I mean, that's what they do. They drive for Lyft and Uber, and they have families, and it's crazy.
And the best ones, put a nice touch on it. They have a really clean car, a really fancy car.
Yeah, exactly. They always have water
water bottles out there.
Speaking of water bottles, do you want me to grab you one really quick? I'm going to grab one.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I'm thirsty.
Full stop. But, yeah, no, the ones who put a nice touch on it, you're just like, okay, 5 stars, and definitely 20%.
Oh, yeah.
Usual, regular, basic bitches get 15.
Normal.
10,
yeah.
12, whatever. I don't care.
Well, it depends. If you're taking a ton of lifts everywhere, you can't be tipping like crazy.
Right, you got to save your money.
You do, and you gotta find the good ones. I had one lady one time. I was in the car and she got a phone call and she said, "Can I take it?" And I said, "I don't think I really have a choice." And she took it, and it was her daughter asking for roughly $5,000. And
So the kind of call you have around strangers.
Exactly, 100%. She kept the daughter on speakerphone and then proceeded to tell me that she was indeed single. And I said, I wrote the number down during the call. It was on the Bluetooth, so it was all good. We've been talking.
Are you legit?
No.
Okay, good. Because I'm going to be like, Jack, that's not how you pick people up.
Hey,
like,
I just texted
anytime that there's somebody who's like, I have a relative who's single or a friend who's single, it's like, I need a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
That's like when you were a kid and like your mom was going to go hang out with one of her friends and they have a kid and then that's all she says. Like, he's about your age. Like, okay. Doesn't mean we're going to get along. And I'm just going to be stuck in this house with this strange kid playing with his toys that I don't play with, listening to him talk about shit I don't like.
I feel like you have a really good story about that, just from memory.
I can...
Something with a trampoline.
Yeah. That's the one I'm thinking of because it's the exact same kind of situation, except I'd hung out with this kid a lot. And I can't remember his damn name.
It's probably good.
Yeah, his mom was also named Karen. Like mine.
Double Karens.
It might come to me later. But anyway, he was a really chubbaroo kid, and this was before I took off on my own chubby journey. So I was a rather spry, skinny little kid, and he had to come hang out at our house, and we had a trampoline at the time. And you remember, did we ever like hook up that spray hose and have us like run through the spray hose out on the trampoline? Yeah, we were doing that, and then like I was gonna do one of those belly flops and then jump onto my feet, just bouncing off your stomach and landing on your feet. I go do that. Right then, he goes for a cannonball, lands right in the middle of my back, like splits me in half. And I lost my shit on him, went up to my room, and he had to sit by himself downstairs the whole rest of the time.
That's hilarious.
I took it so personally, and I was so mad.
You should. That's probably why you got back issues to this day, man.
Could be the start, honestly, because I've had it since like 6th grade, man.
Remember his name, take him to court.
Yeah. Well, I remember the last time I saw him was my mom had invited them to go see Steve Miller Band at Red Rocks with us.
Oh, that was, not recent, but like in high school, right?
Yeah. So, and it'd been like a very long time since I'd seen this kid. And, I see him, and he's skinny. We totally crossed and went in opposite directions because I was a chubby lineman then.
Yeah, right.
And so he was skinny, I was fat. Tables have turned, but we're not jumping on trampolines. We're going to see Steve Miller Band, and I fucked with him pretty hard.
You fucked with him?
I fucked with Steve Miller Band.
Oh, not the guy.
No, not the guy.
Did you avoid him?
Well, trying to make polite small talk and everything. I mean, we've grown, but he was the kind of kid whose mom was very strict and wouldn't let him see anything above PG-13 or play games above rated teen.
Oh, boy.
So he was really into the game Alan Wake, which I haven't played. I've only seen little gameplay snippets of. But it's like, you don't have any weapons in it. You're fighting ghosts with flashlight.
Right. I think ghosts with a flashlight?
At least flashlight, you have to have your flashlight with batteries to keep them away. I don't know, but it was rated teen, and he was about it. And I'm like, have you played Gears of War 2, dog?
Ooh.
You fucking chainsaw people with their gun. You blow people's fucking heads off with shotguns point blank. It's crazy. It's just a blood geyser. And he's over there like, flashlights.
Flashlights.
I'm just like, you don't know about Lancers, dog.
They have flashlights, too.
They have flashlights, and they saw things in half.
Yeah, it's a chainsaw, a gun, and a flashlight. It's the trifecta.
It's a Swiss Army gun.
100%. I think you should have tried to get even with him that night and shoved him down the 69 bleachers of Red Rocks and asked him how his back felt afterward.
See, he was okay. It was his stepdad who was creepy.
Oh, jeez.
He kept just, like, looking at me, because I'd sing along with the songs, and he'd just look at me with, like, this astonished look the whole time, and I'm just like, dude, I get it. It's weird that this kid is singing Steve Miller Band, but you don't have to be like, wow, that's quite the kid right there. Like, okay.
Do you think he wanted to touch your butt?
I really hope not, Jack. I really hope not.
I know you hope not, but do you think he did?
I don't know. He was one of those like skinny, soft-spoken, middle-aged white guys. You know?
So he definitely wanted to touch your butt. Did he have a mustache?
No.
He had just shaved
also, he just shaved it to get away from the last crime.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Oh god, that's horrible.
It is.
Speaking of horrible, that's what I did after going to Bonefish Grill. Was me and Anjanae went and saw Brightburn. God fucking damn it,
Horror
dude.
superhero child movie. What could go wrong?
Everything. I mean, the concept is sound because, like, the Superman origin story is what they use as, like, the what-if scenario. But, like, the origin story is basically public domain because it's so old. Just as long as they don't say Krypton, the Kent family, Smallville, any of that shit, Kryptonite, you know, it's pretty much game, you know? And... so, like, I thought, ooh, that's kind of a cool concept. What if Superman found out he had superpowers and he was evil? You know? Well...
he was a rambunctious boy.
He was a rambunctious chap, yeah. Yeah. No, in this one, it was dog shit, my dude.
Gotcha.
So, it was... being advertised the crap out of on everything. You see it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it always says, from the visionary director of Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn... because he produced it.
Oh, I was like, did he do it?
No.
Okay.
If he did it, it probably would have been good.
Yeah.
I could see him doing it good, but he was just a producer, so he just showed up to make sure the film was getting done.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it was written by his younger brother, Brian, and his cousin, Mark. Gunn.
Mark, but not Sean.
Not Sean. No, I bet Sean could have come up with something better.
This is the Luke Hemsworth of the Gunn family.
Worse,
yes.
Yeah, because Luke Hemsworth is killing it on Westworld.
That is true. Luke Hemsworth at least has some skill and talent.
And he played Thor in Ragnarok briefly.
That was great.
And he was Chris Hemsworth's trainer for Dark World.
Oh, really?
I saw that credit on IMDb.
Good for him. Good for him, man. Yeah, no, Brightburn definitely is one of those that, as soon as you make your franchise about a child, you dive into some dicey territory. And then to make it a horror, and horrors with children, I don't think have ever gone well.
Well, if they do, it's like The Conjuring, where there's evil demons.
Yes.
And shit fucking with them. But, like, this one, it starts off Elizabeth Banks and our boy Roy from The Office, David Denman, are, they live... set up for those two. They're high school sweethearts that got married. And they're trying to have a baby. They live in this impossibly huge fucking house with an impossibly huge amount of land and, like, a barn and stuff. And there's no explanation as to what they do. It does not look like a functional farm. And she gets back home from work. You don't know what she does. There's no character development. They're trying to have their kid. And there's, explosion, earthquake, and then they go out and they find the baby.
Nice.
And, cut to, like, a montage of him growing up and stuff. And there's nothing weird. There's nothing weird about this baby. And then, and he seems like a pretty cool kid. He's a real nice kid. And then, like, they're getting ready to go, and he's having the kid mow the lawn, and he can't get the lawnmower started. And all of a sudden, he just takes it, and with one pull of the cord, throws the whole thing like a good 100 yards away.
Nice.
And it lands face up with the blades spinning. And he just decides to just run his hand into it. Which, I mean, with having Man of Steel powers, it didn't do anything.
Right.
It bent the blade and stopped it. But also, what? How is that your next logical jump from throwing something to just being like, I'm going to put my fist in it?
I tried that once, and that's why I have a hook for a hand.
I know, it's a lovely hook.
I polish it daily.
I know that you Amazon Primed the automated arm that Claw had in Black Panther.
I did.
And that's gonna be pretty sweet when you split your fingers like Spock and shoot cannons.
Literally.
I know, it's gonna be unreal, man.
Vibration cannons.
Yeah. You'll have your own built-in
I will see Brightburn. We will do an episode on Brightburn.
Yeah.
Because even though it sounds dreadful.
You don't care about any fucking person because they go the whole thing. So he's like, "Oh, something's up with me," and then he's like super smart. And he has a crush on a girl, and like then they find like porn under his mattress, but it was like underwear magazine stuff, and then they're flipping through it, and then there's guts just on one of the pages, like
Guts.
just like dissected guts. They don't elaborate on why he does that.
And they didn't like pick up the book and notice that there was some gross liquid, or it's not in the book, right? Okay, sorry.
No.
I misheard that then.
No, he had it like under his bed, like all these pages.
Gotcha. Oh, I see.
Yeah, like torn out pages.
They moved. They picked up the pages.
She was cleaning his room. Elizabeth Banks was, and then they go on a camping trip, and that's when Dad decides to give him the sex talk. And actually, as far as on-screen sex talks go, he handled it very well. He seemed very awkward, but I'm like, that was a mature way. He called it a penis, and he was very mature about it.
Nice.
He's like, it's okay to, touch it. It's okay to feel the way you do about girls. But then that night, he decides to leave the campsite and stalk the little girl that he has a crush on.
Of course.
Literally goes to her room, opens up the laptop, and starts playing a romance song. He's like, she goes and shuts it off after waking up scared, and then she turns around, and then it's open again, playing the song, and he's like hiding behind the curtain. It's so fucking weird, and that's literally the level of tension that you get. Not very much.
Yeah, that's super lame.
There's one jump scare in it that got me, but even then, I was just like, it was like that internal one. I didn't physically jump.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, God.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
like,
almost
whoa.
like embarrassed that you were scared by it.
Whoa.
Yeah. Ooh.
And then, once he gets something with the ship happens, and he starts getting like voices in his head from a different language, and he's like in a trance and stuff, and then all of a sudden he's like trying to break into the barn where the ship is, and then they finally reveal it to him, and he flips out, and then hell ensues after that. But he snaps for no reason on that level, and then later he's like killing people, and they're just like, "Hey, are you okay about what we talked about last night?" He's like, "Yeah, everything's cool. Yeah, everything's all right. I'm just going to kill people now." It's all good, Mom and Dad.
I feel like there could have been a stronger reason, but, hey.
There could have been a lot of stronger things in that movie, and it almost ruined the night. It was a great night.
Yeah. But hey.
Yeah,
knowing you and Anjane, you guys had a lot of fun tearing that thing apart.
Not on the way home. We were just mad. The thing that frustrated me the most about it is, like, with most bad movies, I could pick and choose what really went wrong and how to improve it, in my own way. Just punch-ups. Just regular writing punch-ups that you learn. But this one, I just do not know where to start to make it better.
The incinerator. That's always a good place.
Yeah. You know what? They should have just made Superman Red Sun, where Superman crashes in the Soviet Union instead of America and becomes a Soviet hero. Because that would be a sweet movie.
Yes. You fuck with Russia, you fuck with Superman.
I am man of steel and sickle and hammer.
And hammer. I make the steel.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Don't get attached to the things.
Yeah. Gotta love Mickey Rourke.
I want my board.
My board?
My board.
I want my board. Anything else happen this weekend, Sammy?
Well, we hung out at the View House.
We did, indeed.
That was a fun old time with the whole groupity group.
Get to see the high school fam, the HS fam.
Joey B.
Joey B.
Wesley P.
Wesley P.
Danny Mills.
Danny Mills.
And Jerry Hams.
Jerry Hams? G Hammy?
Yeah, G Hammy.
G Hammy, Jerry Hams?
Gary. I meant that.
Gary Hams,
yeah,
yes.
I fucked it up.
No, it's all good. I got it
And then,
wrong,
of
too.
course, Jabeta Boy on the drums getting dumb.
He doesn't play instruments.
I know. But he's our yellow boy.
I feel like he dabbles in some. I don't know. I'd have to ask him.
I thought he had a keyboard.
Yeah, keyboard or guitar. One of the two.
Guitar.
Sorry, Jake.
Either way.
Yeah.
We love him.
We do. We do indeed. It was a great time. It was good to see everybody. It had been a minute since we had all gotten together.
Yep.
Spontaneous night, too, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, and then helped my dad more with the kitchen.
Nice.
Wasn't so bad. Tile. We're almost done, man. We're on the home stretch.
Love it.
Tiles.
Tiles. Tiles for miles, dude.
I hope not.
I'm going to make sure of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For every 4 tiles you put in, I'm going to crack one. I'm Just gonna go into your house while you're sleeping. And 1, 2, 3, 4, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, cool. Just like that. And you're eventually going to buy miles of tiles.
Well, Jack, that's exactly what I expect you to do because you're a fucking sadist.
I am indeed. I was wearing a goat skull earlier today.
Oh, nice. You're a true anarchist. You're like worse than a Joker.
Exactly.
You want to watch the world burn, but you're going to be giggling.
I feel like I'm like if Buddha became the Joker. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that the world owes you its own burning for your entertainment?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like it's all connected.
You
right?
seek to torture and destroy people psychologically because cosmically you feel like you're owed it from a past life.
From all the lives,
all the past lives.
Yeah.
You deserve to just make this one burning, crumbling joke.
Yeah, exactly. You get it. Man.
Unfortunately, I do, and it's terrifying.
Yes.
What about you, my dude?
What did I do this weekend? I had a pretty low-key weekend. Not much happened until we went to View House. That was good. I bought a suit for our friend's upcoming wedding. With Gare Bear, G Hammy. And it was expensive and out of nowhere. And
give me $1.
$3.50.
Gosh.
And because it's men's warehouse, they
you also don't fluctuate in body size that much, so I feel like this one will be able to last.
It's a good suit. I'm very excited to have it.
What colors were they?
So
lavender and blue?
Lavender and blue, yeah. So it's a blue suit, blue vest, lavender shirt.
Yeah. Well, I, since you're one of the groomsmen, I'm in the wedding, and they never gave me a specific dress code, and since I am the officiant, I'm going to marry these kids.
Yes, you are. Have you been ordained yet?
No.
You got to do that today, man.
I gotta.
The wedding's in less than a month.
I know. I keep forgetting.
It's all good.
I keep forgetting about a lot of things.
Me too.
Ow, my hand just cramped up for no reason.
Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking I go up there, white on white on white.
Sure. I love it.
I'm going to go full preacher.
Nice.
Preacher.
The breacher. I'm getting there. I'm pushing through. I finished the show You. That's I started the show Easy.
We gotta do an episode about you.
Oh yes, we will. I would love to do an episode about me. Very, very
much.
much.
All about you.
Yeah.
Mad About You, starring Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt.
What? More like Jack Anderson and Jack Dean Anderson.
There's another Jack Anderson out there without a middle name?
I am positive there are at least 1 million Jack Andersons. At least.
I love it because your name is actually legally Jack, and then we go to Jack and Grill under the impression that you get something for free,
yes,
a free meal, with your legal name being Jack. You show your license and everything, and then we find out. What do we find out, Jack?
It's only off the kids' menu.
What kind of horse shit?
Yeah, after we had eaten as well.
Yeah, he didn't tell us. He looked at your ID before the meal was served. You ordered an adult meal.
Yeah.
And
he didn't say anything.
He didn't say shit.
What did we tip him? 12 cents, I think?
Yeah, I tipped him 12 cents because he didn't tell us that the refills cost anything or that the sour cream that my nephew got cost anything. Literally, that's all I had left. No. That's what it was. It was like 12 cents, and the guy's like, do you want change? I'm like, yes. Because how do you do that? You got to give people a heads up, man.
It's true. Didn't you forget your leftovers there?
Yeah. I forgot that. That was the last thing. And that was the day after we saw the first Avengers.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Fun times back then.
That was wild.
Then we did View House, and then I worked Memorial Day, but I did the Murph challenge with our good friend Trevor Newton, T Newt, and it was a good time. It's pretty much it's in honor of Mike Murphy, which if you've seen Lone Survivor, it's who Taylor Kitsch plays.
Taylor Kitchen.
What?
Taylor Kitchen.
I was like, is that his name?
No.
And he's just a really famous, honorable soldier. And the challenge, The Rock, Chris Pratt, John Krasinski, they all do it every year. And it's a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then finish with another mile run. And we got it done in about 40 minutes without stopping. It was pretty rad. It was pretty good.
Well, I mean, you're able to do that. Me personally, when
shocked.
I hear all of those things in a row, like when you posted it on Instagram that day, what you guys were going to do, I was like, I would rather be dropped in the middle of a combat zone with no training or equipment.
Yes.
And that would be more pleasant for me.
And just see what happens.
Well, because I'd probably die immediately. That workout sounds like, almost dying and not being able to.
I came into it and I was like, there's no way. I haven't ran in forever. I've been working out, obviously, but not to the extent I normally do, not to the focus levels. I was like, this is not going to go well. Actually went way easier than expected. And then my roommate talked shit to me afterward. I was like, yeah, it was actually pretty easy. He's like, yeah, when you're doing half-ass reps, and his body is in my car. I need you to help me.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, does that mean I get his room?
I mean, sure. Why not?
Fuck yeah, dude. Me and Winnie moving in.
Yeah, Winston would be fun in here.
Oh, yeah.
Winston on any floor other than the ground floor would be so fun.
Winston's just a fun-ass dog.
Just here. Dude, that dog's a beast.
Sweetest beast.
Sweet beast.
Sweet beast.
Sweet beast. It's Cerberus with some charm. And then
Cerberus with a lot of sugar.
A lot of sugar. And then that was pretty much my weekend. I did improv yesterday. Super super good times. And you got a damn massage. How often are you doing that? I'm doing it monthly now.
Okay.
I've signed up for a monthly massage, and it's nice.
Is it always going to be on a Tuesday?
Yeah, probably.
Ugh.
I know.
All right, well then we'll just have to schedule.
Yeah.
Wednesdays. Well, I don't even know what your time constraint is for today, this Wednesday.
I just got to bounce by 4 to go.
Oh, that's fine.
Drop some off, yeah, but
that's fine.
No big deal.
My only issue with the Murph Challenge is that it's called the Murph Challenge because Matthew McConaughey has ruined that name with how many times he yelled it in Interstellar. Murph! Murph, it's all about love. It was all leading to this moment. Murph! 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 Murph!
Yeah.
I hope she's driving a Lincoln back on Earth.
Doing her push-ups and pull-ups. Running for miles. Yeah, that's all I got.
There you go.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, that was my weekend. Very low-key, very simple.
That's always nice.
Chilling, hanging, yeah. Mm-hmm. Felt mischievous because it was so low-key.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I kind of want to just jump across the table and just strangle you right now.
Yeah, why don't you do it?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? You're throwing Loki puns at me, man.
Yeah, I got you good with that
Piece
one,
of
too.
trash. No, because if it had hit me harder, if I didn't catch it sooner, it would have been a nightmare, man. I would have actually attacked you.
You had to take that beat.
I took a half a breath. And I was like, contain it.
Hell yeah.
I don't need first-degree manslaughter.
Nah, not on microphone. No, you do not.
Aggravated assault.
Probably be the most popular podcast ever, though.
Get murder on the pod?
Yeah, as long as we posted it, yeah, or as long as you post. I would have no.
Yeah, I just take this card back home and just with my blood-stained fingers typing on the laptop, tick, put it up, and people will know I murdered you on the air.
Sweet. As long as I'm a part of it, it's all good.
Speaking of murder on the air,
yes.
How about Body
wrapped season 2 last week. We didn't talk about it because we had Game of Thrones going on.
Now the watch is over.
The watch is over. The watch is done, and the documentary has been made about it. It's locked. It's done. Now it's time to talk about hitmen turned actors.
Yes,
and Bill Hader.
Bill Hader's magnum opus. One of the honestly most genius pieces of television we've seen in a long time. It is
I really
just
believe so.
Perfect. It is right up our alley. Dark humor, violence.
For a show to be as funny as it is, and it's not going to have you on the floor laughing like most comedies. It will from time to time.
From time to time,
you're getting maybe 5 big laughs per episode versus like another show where you may get 1 every minute. You know, but for a comedy to make me have the anxiety and excitement and fear and sadness that this show does, I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's unheard of.
It's unlike anything I've ever watched. And, I loved Barry very, very much.
I love Barry. And, the thing that just gets me about the show is, so many things, like we said before, Us and stuff like that, why Jordan Peele is so good at making horror. is because he understands the line of tension that you have to walk when it comes to comedy and horror, because that's what you rely on the most as the biggest strength,
right?
Is tension.
Yes.
The build up, and you're just waiting and getting the audience to lure their chin out a little bit further, then you just hit them with that uppercut of either a joke or a scare.
Yeah.
And the most successful ones navigate that line of tension. That's why I found to be one of the most, like amazing horror movies of the past, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And fucking A, Barry has the most tension of like any comedy. And because it's not trying to be funny all the time, the ridiculousness of even some of the more serious scenes, it still gets you like kind of, internally laughing, because it's just like, it's dark comedy. That is perfect dark comedy.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's character driven too. It's not. They're not jokes per se. Maybe a gag here and there, like Stephen Root's super gluing his hands to the steering wheel. But even then, it fits that character so well. Yeah.
It's all the characters having their own personal idiosyncrasies and unique things about them that is just, it's so funny. Right. It's like the things that you notice when you like understand how Robert Downey Jr. is playing Tony Stark. It's all the little things he does, like in Civil War, where he's just like, "Who's putting coffee grounds down the sink?
What about bed and breakfast for a biker gang?"
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that's such a little thing, but he's so intense in that scene because he's about to spill the tea about Charlie Spencer.
Yeah,
with a little thing like that, I'm sure he either improv'd it or McFeely and Marcus have that down.
Yeah.
They've picked up all his idiosyncrasies that they can just put him in there.
Yeah.
And then you get people like Gene Cousineau. Like that, our favorite scene from season 1.
Yeah.
Where he's going in for that audition. And I'll let you do it because you do it the best.
He goes in and he's like, so like, for people that haven't seen the show, Gene Cousineau is the teacher of the theater that Barry ends up going to.
Played by Henry Winkler.
The best.
The Fonz. Barry Zuckerkorn from Arrested Development.
Yeah. Friggin'
Dr. Saperstein.
Yep, from Parks and Recreation.
Yep.
And he comes in and he's made it out to this theater class that he's the shit. That he's the
he's got posters of him all over the place. It's a shrine to him.
And that's perfect. And we see him just for a brief moment. I think it's at the beginning of one of the episodes or something like that.
It was like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it was the episode after he agreed to let Barry be in the class.
Right.
Because, he's in that strong, powerful position, and Barry comes to him and bears his entire soul. Really his true life story about being an ex-Marine who's a hitman now. Yeah. He's like, "Where'd you get that from?" "Okay, you can come to my class."
It was improvised.
He's like, "Ooh, that was improvised. That was so great."
He's like, the story could use a little work.
Yeah.
But he goes in for this audition, and he while they're like, "Gene Cousineau, please come in." We're like, "Okay, we're going to see Gene work." And then he's like, "Gene Cousineau reading for Man in the back of the line. And I'll be doing 2 versions, thank you." And they go, 1. "Hey, we're waiting." Or what was he doing? He goes,
"We're waiting here."
Yeah. "Hey, we're waiting here." 2. "Hey, we're waiting here." That'll be it. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That'll be it. That was great. Thank you.
That was great. See you, Gene. It's like the casting director knew him.
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, Gene, great to see you again." How many times has he been to that same casting director and just done auditions and nothing?
Reading to be an extra.
To being an extra, exactly.
Yeah. I love it.
And here he is running this class like he's just some sort of major expert, which is like the true tragedy of teachers in that kind of an industry, especially when it comes to acting or even improv. All these teachers are like, well, that horrible fucking I guess stereotype where it's like those who can't teach.
Those who can't
those who can't teach and those who can't teach gym.
There we go. That's my
what
job.
It was. Yeah, there you go.
No, I mean, it's he and the thing I was like talking about this that I really noticed. He's like Bill Hader, one of the funniest cast members to ever be on SNL.
Oh, he's one of the funniest guys in Hollywood, man. He works with everybody. He's in all of our favorite comedies. Like this dude he worked at SNL. Mm-hmm. He worked on he's done Hot Rod with The Lonely Island and Popstar. He did.
He's worked with South Park.
Yeah, he worked with South Park. Nobody writes with South Park.
Nobody.
He's the only one, and he did voices for South Park and shit. And it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, and he's in with, Judd Apatow and that gang, Seth Rogen. He's in all those movies. Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Some of the best lines in Tropic Thunder were delivered by him.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the most like side characters. But he's just such a great actor, man.
Yeah, and he's never taking acting classes either.
Never took an acting class.
That's what I've heard.
Wow.
I you can never know that for a fact.
Right. Well, I mean, we got to listen to some more deep interviews.
Exactly. Well, but to like think if that is true and he's making a show about an acting class, how funny is that?
Exactly.
And the thing about
maybe
Barry,
he didn't take acting classes till after he had already started.
Right. Yeah, and I got to do more research for that. But like the thing about Barry that's so cool is that I don't think Bill Hader has one like directly funny line.
No.
Yeah.
He is a total through and through straight man.
Yeah.
His catchphrase in the show, it's just like people just pop up all the time. He's like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
He's just always immediately, what the fuck are you doing here? They keep cornering him in his real life and everything. Because, I guess we could set it up a little bit better because we just started with Gene. But so Barry is ex-Marine who became a hitman, and he's the best hitman on Earth, essentially.
He's contracted by his dad's friend.
Fuchs.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Ulysses Fuchs? What was it?
I can't remember.
Montgomery Fuchs.
Played by Stephen Root, one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
Oh, he's just, you put him in anything, he's going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Consummate professional.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so basically it's just like, it's such a weird dynamic because Fuchs does none of the work.
No.
He kind of like finds the people who want to hire Barry, but then he gets like a huge chunk of the money. And then through season 1, he's, involved with the Chechen mob where Goran Pazar, the guy is in charge, and played by, I can't remember the guy's name, but he played the Yellow King in True Detective, which to see such a grotesque performance in that, I mean, that was one of the most shocking things ever. Like I showed it to Anjane recently, and she was just losing it about True Detective, man. That final showdown with Marty and fucking Rust and him, fuck, dude,
Gets pretty bad.
Yeah, and then he comes in as this hammy fucking Chechen mob boss. He's got the tacky sweater with the gold chains and stuff, always smoking a giant cigar
With his right-hand man.
hand man, the best TV character I think we've come to agree upon is Mr. Noho Hank.
I love him. Oh,
he's so great.
He gets better and better and better every single time.
Every single time.
Yeah. I wouldn't call him intimidating by any means, but like until like season 2, we get a moment to be intimidated by him. Yeah. I thought it was going to be a through line through the show, but that was kind of cool how they turned that. It was actually kind of similar to me, like from Game of Thrones, where like we thought that the Night King and the White Walkers were going to be kind of the end all be all. We thought the Chechen mob was going to be the end all be all, but like Game of Thrones, it all comes down to the politics. Barry, the essence of the show is Barry's secret life. Barry trying to balance
juggle becoming an actor. And he's horrible. He's a horrible actor because he's a fucking sociopath and he has no emotion. He has no idea how to connect with the stuff.
Yes.
Until a few episodes into this season when, Gene tells him to channel some of the horrible things he's done in the past, which, he's done plenty of fucking horrible things.
Yeah.
And he keeps asking, am I a bad person? Am I a bad person? Because he doesn't think he is. But he's killed so many people in cold blood for money.
Barry, you're like the evilest person I know. Do I not tell you that enough?
Yeah, God, that was so funny. And I love, because, season 1, it has the Chechens hire him to kill a guy who's fucking Goran's wife.
Right.
And that guy was at the acting class. So Barry joins the acting class with him. And he just falls in love after doing like a shitty scene from True Romance where he's playing the stoner Brad Pitt guy. And Barry's just there. And he just reads the words just by just reading them. He doesn't act them at all. No. And then he's just like, I want to be in this class.
Yeah.
And then,
falling for Sally.
Yeah.
One of our prime, most important characters. Sally is such an Sally garners so many emotions out of me, which means she's great.
Yeah.
Which means
she elicits a true reaction from you. A lot of it's frustration.
Yes.
Then there's sympathy. Then there's anger, because she could get pretty obnoxious with some shit that she does.
She could be so stuck up. Yeah.
Yeah, but also, it pays off for her.
Exactly. And that's the funniest part is this whole second season has been about her trying to discover her truth and be her true self.
Right.
And nobody wants that.
Nobody wants it.
And she panics. She fails. She fails this journey that she goes on through season 2 and is rewarded by it.
Right. Because all of season 1, she's going through just being so stuck up because she's one of the only people in the acting class who has representation. Or no, she has an audition that's one of the guys from the agency was going to watch it. And what develops behind the scenes, so you have the whole through line with the class and they all have pieces they want to do, and they're doing Shakespeare and reenactments of plays and stuff.
Right.
And Barry becomes her scene partner, much to her chagrin, because he's acting off of a wall. And what's going on is Barry gets just totally swept up in this Chechen heist thing where it just spins out of control because he wouldn't kill this Ryan guy,
right,
until he was gonna, and then when he shows up to kill him, he's already been killed by the Chechens. And so he shoots them all. He hits Hank, and but Hank puts that stupid fucking lipstick camera on the dashboard so they have a picture of Barry,
right,
and because it's Ryan's class, the detective Moss, I don't know the actress, but she was great.
She was awesome.
She was awesome. And starts investigating the class, and then Gene starts hitting on her. So that's some of the most hilarious flirting is the shit that he says to her that ends up working. He wears her down, even though it's so unprofessional because she's working on the case.
Right, yeah.
And after a while...
has no interest in this guy at first.
Yeah, after a while... There's it cools down, the heat off Barry's got his alibi with Fuchs, who has all those phones and stuff. He gets away with it. And then just more and more shit develops with the Chechen guys. He ends up meeting up with an old army buddy, Marine buddy, and then his Marine buddy brings over a bunch of his crazier Marine buddies to this party that the acting class was throwing.
Yep.
And Barry's just what the fuck are these guys doing here? They're awful. And one of them, the dumbest one of them all, Taylor,
oh yeah,
he's the big dumb bald one, and he figures out that Barry's into some shit, wants in on it. Barry's fucking pissed, and they're supposed to rob some sort of shipment from the.
There's a plane coming in from the...
I think Puerto Ricans, I'm not sure. No.
Colombians?
Yeah. And they were supposed to raid it, and that's when his buddy that he is actually friends with shows up, and the other two are there. And the fuck of it all was Barry's book. It was because he had Ryan's book.
Right.
And he takes it over to Taylor's house, and he dumps a bunch of money in Barry's bag and leaves the book out. And when he gets killed at the airfield, they go investigate his apartment, they find the book, and now the case is back open. And it's just every single time you think they're out, they pull you back in.
Exactly.
You think the trail's cold and dead, and then there's something else that happens.
That's the key.
That's great storytelling.
Yep.
And I mean, it was, I guess we didn't say it was co-created by Alec Berg.
Yeah, Alec Berg.
And he co-created Silicon Valley, and he also worked very extensively on Seinfeld.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So he's an expert.
Yeah.
TV expert.
Three best shows of all time.
Yeah, so those guys get killed, and then Barry's put in that awful situation where he saved Chris, but Chris had to kill a guy, and he's losing it, and Barry has to kill him.
Yeah, one of the most intense scenes. That's where I fell in love with Barry. Because before that, I was oh, it's a great show. It's awesome. Bill Hader. Everything's great and funny. We'll just see
that
where this
whole
goes.
scene was so fucking intense, man. He's losing it, and then he's just I told my wife that I was going somewhere else, but she knew I was lying, and Barry's just put in that sticky situation where he's I have to turn myself in. I can't do this. I just absolutely can't do this. And Barry just flips. He's why the fuck did you say that? Why did you say that? And then the guy's like, oh shit, I'm in the car with a real fucking killer.
Straight up serial killer. Yeah.
And he's just like trying to save face. He's like, I actually told my wife I was coming to see you. But it's okay. Everything's going to be all right. And then Barry has to shoot him. And that's so rough. And then his emotional turmoil from that, he takes in, like, right after that, he's losing his shit and has to go to that acting gig where Sally's doing Hamlet or Macbeth.
I think Macbeth.
Yeah. And where he was playing, male Macbeth. And she's doing that whole soliloquy, and his only thing is to walk in and say, "The Queen, my lord, is dead." And every time he comes in, he just does it so stiff and so shitty. But after this whole thing, he comes out in total shambles and tears, and she was able to play off of that in a way that took her performance to a whole nother level. And that's when she gets recognized, gets signed by this agency, so it works out for her. And Barry's just falling apart. He's never felt this kind of stuff. That was one thing early on, was they were having that memorial for Ryan, and his dad showed up, and his dad starts falling apart, and Barry's like, I've never seen the repercussions of the people that I've killed. I've never seen how their family reacts, and that's the first...
Because he always thinks he's killing bad people.
Right, and that's the first ever, insight to his soul where he's like, oh shit, I'm doing bad things.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing really bad things. And then he gets put in that position, and then it gets undercut. Not really undercut, but it's so fucking funny because he's just in that room freaking out and losing it, and Gene walks in, he's like, Barry, that was excellent. Oh my God, I had no idea you could take yourself to that place. I mean, such a wonderful performance. I have a few notes, of course, and then Barry punches punches through a picture frame and screams and throws a chair, and he's just like, oh, I see you're still in that space. I'm going to give you some time. And then now that's when Barry throws the chair, and Gene runs away scared.
Literally runs away. Like,
oh my God.
Putting Gene Cousineau in the middle of that hurricane.
Right.
Great move. You know, that's where the humor of that show comes from.
Yeah, because he comes in and he's just like, oh my God, I taught you something. Wow, I'm going to flatter myself by praising you. And then Barry's losing. He's like, I still see you're in that place.
He's like, oh, obviously you're still like in my world. You're still doing what I told you to do.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let you do it, but this is all me. Yeah. This is all me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just his whole character is his ego, because he's a has-been. A has-been who really never was.
Yeah, always like mentions that he knew famous people.
Right. And then after that, because that airfield attack got fucked up, they find out that the Colombians are super duper nice, and they have to kill Barry and Fuchs. And so they kidnap Fuchs, and Barry's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then they eventually capture Barry, tell Barry he needs to go kill the Colombians, I think. And
I think they kidnapped Fuchs at the beginning. I think.
No. They capture him for a few episodes.
Oh, okay.
And that was the thing. They brought in that the most famous.
What's up? Roommates, huh? But
yeah,
the
most famous Chechen assassin is that really old guy. He's totally petrified.
He
with
kills
the horror,
himself.
with the horror that he's done. And Fuchs is just trying to talk to him all nice and everything. The guy shoots himself.
First time in Los Angeles.
First time in Los Angeles. Yeah, I've been out here a few times. The guy shoots himself, and then they're just like, "Well, fuck, we have to hire Barry again."
Right.
And Barry essentially tells them to go fuck themselves. And then they say they have Fuchs, and he doesn't care. And I love that scene because they capture Barry, and they start filing Fuchs's teeth. And it's so horrible. And he's spitting out all the teeth chunks. It's so gross, but it's so fucking funny because it's Fuchs.
Well, then that ends up being a plot point when they find his tooth.
Right, yeah. Well, oh, yeah, they did capture him twice. They captured him twice.
Okay.
So this is the second time where they filed his teeth.
Yes.
No, the first time was when they filed the teeth. Second time was when they punched him and knocked his tooth out.
Right.
And that's when they're all in the garage, and Barry kills Goron and pretty much everyone in there, saves Fuchs.
Yeah, because Hank gives him a tip.
Yeah, Hank gives him the tip, and I love the whole deal where they made it seem like Fuchs was getting sawed up in the garage, but it was really that creepy guy making some stocks.
Yeah, he's going to make a stockade.
He's going to make a stockade to put him in and torture him. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Kill him. Kill him and chop him up. What the fuck are you doing with the stockade? And then Barry shows up, kills them all, kills Goron, and Hank's left alive. Now he is in charge of Chechen Mob.
No,
and,
I'm in charge of Chechen Mob.
Yeah, and the detective has no choice but to close the case officially.
Right.
Everything seems happily ever after. And I love that end one because that ending of that episode, like, it felt like a dream.
Yeah.
Like you weren't totally sure because you see Barry fantasize so much.
Yeah, exactly.
He just has these weird ideological fantasies that are totally unreal.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he fantasized at all in the second season, though.
He fantasized that one time when he was passing out.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah,
And he had that weird dream. But that whole deal was just hysterical because you're just like, oh, shit, this is real. And he's hanging out with Gene, Moss, and Sally at the cabin. And that's when Moss finds out that Barry's real last name is Berkman. And it figures out that he's tied with Chris and all that shit. And, oh, man, Barry has to kill her.
Yep.
And that's where they leave season 1.
They did. It's tense. You just...
Yeah.
It's the ultimate cliffhanger.
Oh, because that's what he said. Was he's like he saved Fuchs, punched him in the face, and he's like, "I'm done killing, starting now."
Yeah.
And then he kills her. He gets back in bed. He's like, "Starting now."
Right. That's kind of like the through line is him trying to become a better person.
He keeps trying to stop, but he keeps having to kill people.
Exactly. All through, and then that leads into season 2, which is, are we defined by the choices we've made in our past?
Or what we learn from it and whatnot. And I love how Hank is in charge of the Chechens, and they have like that shitty ragtag army that doesn't know how to fight, so they have Barry train them.
Right.
And he doesn't fucking want to do it at all. But they tried to assassinate him.
Yeah. Well, because now you got to look at Barry's life now that he's quote unquote, gotten out of.
He thinks he's out, and then
Yeah.
they keep showing up.
Well,
They just keep showing up.
He's got this guy Hank who's like super like into him, whether it's romantically or just friendship, which we really don't know. Or at least I'm still trying to figure out. He always wants to be around Barry. Like, the worst
he's the
thing.
biggest Barry fan. He fangirls out every time that he's around him.
All Barry wants to do is get away from this guy, and all Hank wants to do is be around him. Yeah, just like us. Yeah. And then he's got Gene, who he really looks up to, who will do anything for some level of
He's
attention.
what he wants Fuchs to be.
Exactly.
He's like a mentor rather than the guy who uses him, basically.
Right. And then you got Fuchs, who loves Barry, who has nothing else outside of Barry.
Yeah, and he tries to get that new guy to take over for Barry, and he totally fucks up the entire heist.
Yeah.
And
he shoots himself.
Yeah, he shoots the vault, and then the shotgun blast goes into his leg. He's like, oh God! And then he goes, and he's like, shows up at the door. He's like, we got the wrong code. You gave him the wrong code, and the guy gets lit up by the cops in the doorway.
Oh, it starts fast, man.
Oh yeah, and then the Japanese guy jumps out the window and dies. And then Fuchs is like, I was held against my will. And so they get him. And that part was really funny when they get him, and he's in there, and they're trying to get a DNA sample. He's like, no, I've done nothing wrong. You don't have anything on me. I don't need to give a DNA. And he's drinking that Coca-Cola, and the guy's standing there with a DNA kit, and he's just, like, talking shit, totally standing up to the cops. And he finishes Coke, and he sets it down. The DNA guy just swipes it, and then you see him in the background putting it in the bag and everything.
It's the best part of Fuchs, because he's just so dumb. He thinks he's so smart. And he's legitimately dumb.
He's so dumb.
Yeah, he legitimately doesn't think. All these people don't think outside their own worlds very much.
Right.
Yeah, they're very selfish people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that DNA pings back to L.A., where the new Detective Loesch, who was Moss's partner, finds that it matches with that tooth.
Yeah.
That was left in the garage.
Right.
And totally decides to try and get him to wire up and rat on Barry and stuff. And the whole season he's trying to rat on Barry until he realizes he's in way too deep.
Yeah.
And Barry is very dangerous, and he finds out, and he's trying to escape that hotel room. That part was really funny.
Dude, it's just interesting to see how this season progresses, because halfway through it they totally pulled the rug out from under me.
Oh yeah, with that with the
twist
father
that
daughter.
I ruined on here. Yeah, that he wanted Barry's help instead of trying to arrest Barry. And then we have that episode with the father and the daughter.
Yeah, because the detective, he gets Barry on a wire basically confessing. He didn't really confess to anything incriminating so much as he was just saying that, you know, like he doesn't have to. And he was really excited and that he found something new about himself. And then the cop comes in and, like, threatens him and blackmails him, essentially, to go kill the guy that his ex-wife is banging. And Barry's just like, what? Like, that's it. He's just so upset and incredulous and confused. Yeah. And this just keeps happening to him. And it's really not through any fault of his.
Because he doesn't out, you know?
Yeah, he has it out. But every single time Fuchs or NoHo Hank shows up, you know, in some sort of shitty disguise, they're just like, hey, and he's like working at Lululemon and shit, and then Hank shows up, and he's just like, do these come in extra medium? Those are women's shorts. And he goes, what the fuck are you doing here? Same with Fuchs, but then he gets on the wire, and the detective hires him to go kill that guy, and that was the most, like, bizarre episode. It was great, though.
It's crazy.
Because I love it, because he shows up, and he's wearing that orange ski mask with the goggles. He's like, hey, so I was hired by this detective to kill you. Do you have any family or anything? Okay, we're going to pack your bag and we're going to send you out there. The guy's like a total stoner. He's hitting a joint the whole time, and he's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Right. And he turns out to be a master of, what is it?
Taekwondo. Yeah, he opens up this big-ass room, and there's just wall-to-wall trophies and ribbons and pictures of championships that this guy has won.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you know, he's just like, so, you know, you do Taekwondo and everything. The guy still seems super chilled, and out of nowhere, he kicks him right in the chest. And they get this big hand-to-hand fight that it was a one-shot. Yeah. You gotta love a good one-shot, man.
Sure, man.
One-shots
that episode was a one-shot.
Yeah. You gotta love him. And they fight, and Barry crushes his windpipe, and the dude just passes out, and you think he died. And then Barry's walking out. His whole red mask is red from all the blood running down his face. And then as he's walking out, he sees this little girl in a taekwondo gi. God damn. Walking through the door, and it's the daughter of this guy. Yeah. And he gets back in the car, and he's like, did you do it? He's like, yeah. And he goes, well, Fuchs asks him, did you do it? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, his daughter showed up. And Fuchs goes, oh, man, Barry, that must have been hard. I can't imagine what that must have been like to have to kill a kid. He's like, no, I didn't kill her. He's just like, well, Barry, you got to get back in there and kill that kid. You know?
Yeah, right.
And he goes in there, and he's looking for her, and then just out of nowhere, he just hears a growling. Yeah. And this girl, she's down on, like, all fours, and she just pounces, like, 12 feet across the room, jumps on him, and starts kicking the absolute fucking shit out of him.
It's just like the ultimate... Because I've been thinking about that episode a lot, and I was like, what is up with that episode? It's great in every way, but, like, why, you know? Yeah. And I just think that is the episode that symbolizes everything that's happening in Barry's life. Like, it's just this wild,
pure
animated,
chaos.
Chaotic, you know.
Uncontrollable.
Nothing seems to go right.
Yep.
And he has just enough skill to get by.
Right. And like she kicks his ass. It's like stabs the shit out of him in his back. And he's like
faces.
Yeah. And and he's like cowered in the corner, and she just gives up, jumps out the window, and then he looks out the window. She does a front flip over the neighbor's fence.
Literally, yeah.
Literally. And then he's just like, Jesus Christ. And he goes in there, and Fuchs is still pissed. He's like, we gotta go find this girl. And they're driving around the neighborhood, and like Barry's bleeding out and stuff, and then they see the girl. She's just sitting on a curb, and Fuchs gets out of the car. He's like, all right, I'm gonna have to do it. And he walks up, and she growls at him, runs away, climbs up a tree over the branch onto a roof, and then perches on it like a gargoyle. And all night, and that was what it was. Barry's line that when he gets out, he's just like, I don't think she's of this earth.
Yeah, no, I was wondering if they were going to go a direction like that with the show. I was like, knowing this show, they could. They
could. No, she just had a savage dad who taught her well.
Yeah, literally all that episode did was get rid of the whole potential going to jail storyline, really pit Fuchs and Barry against each other.
Because he killed Loesch, the Taekwondo guy, wasn't dead.
Yeah.
They eventually go to a like pharmacy, After the first run where Fuchs gets super glue to glue Barry's back,
Right.
he glues his fucking hands to the steering wheel. But that's the girl like climbs into the car and bites Fuchs's face, rips a chunk off, runs away again,
Right.
never to be seen again.
Not a chance. No.
And
no.
then he gets to the store and there's that guy. And he's just like, "Hey, I was in your house earlier. Are you okay?" And he's like putting on a brace on his neck, and then he immediately goes apeshit on Barry. He's like,
yeah.
"What the fuck are you doing, man? Don't be a dick!" Like, and then all of a sudden, dude gets shot in the face. Oh shit!
Yeah.
And you look and you see it's Detective Loesch, and he goes up to Barry and he's like, "Oh shit, thanks, man." And he's like, "Oh, we got the guy. He's got a gun, pointing at Barry." He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And all of a sudden, the Taekwondo guy, shot in the face, stands back up, and then he just roundhouse kicks Loesch's neck into a shelf.
Yeah.
And then he gets lit up by the cops.
Yeah.
Barry sneaks out the back. Loesch is dead.
It's just the ultimate, just like,
What's going to happen next?
yeah, there was, I'm sure when Bill Hader was writing that episode, he set a goal to go as big as possible and to not change the first draft.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was great. I loved
Because it
it.
was like a really existentially weird episode.
Very much so.
And he had those strange visions of him coming back from war, and Fuchs was the only one there for him. But it was like, he's coming from the light on the war. Fuchs's background is dark, so it's like he's going into the darkness, symbolism.
Yeah.
And then that leads to him breaking up with him in the next episode. And Fuchs is real pissed.
Breaks up with Fuchs, kind of becomes the crux of the show for the next 3
Yeah,
episodes.
but this whole season, Gene, meanwhile, has been hopelessly trying to find Detective Moss. He's in love with her, and then he tries to reconnect with his son, which doesn't go well at all because his son points exactly out what's wrong with him, that the class is a shrine to him. He's so selfish. Everything's all about him, and then he makes an effort, and eventually they patch stuff up. But then Fuchs decides to fuck Barry big time.
Yeah.
And he goes into the wilderness around the cabin, and he's searching the whole episode, and he gets lost, and he just fucks himself up, and it's actually very slapstick and funny until he finds the car
Right.
that Barry hid with Detective Moss's body.
Yep.
And then he
Tries to kill Fuchs or
Gene. He brings Gene under the guise of some like private detective, and he goes there and he takes Gene's phone after showing him her body. So he's in shock. Takes Gene's phone, calls the cops, claims that he killed Moss and that he's Gene and that he was gonna kill himself and Fuchs was gonna shoot him. But that's the thing about Fuchs. He doesn't kill anybody. He always wants to be that army ragtag guy, but he just doesn't have it in him.
He's a giant coward.
So what he does is, instead of shooting him, he whispers in his ear right when Barry's showing up, which he's supposed to be doing a show.
Yeah.
He shows up, and the cops show up at the same time, arrest Gene, and they book Barry too, but he doesn't have anything. And then he's after Fuchs.
Yeah.
And Fuchs goes to NoHo Hank, who's been dealing with the Russians and the who's the Asian gang?
The Colombians and the
Colombians, duh.
The Cambodians.
Cambodians, I think so. And he wants to kill the Cambodian chick because she's becoming too chummy with Cristobal, the Colombian guy. He's just like in love with Cristobal. And Barry, meanwhile, has been training his militia and everything. And then they get caught trying to kill the Cambodian leader. And they're putting a bus to burn, and one of the guys that Barry trained saves them, basically becomes the leader of the Chechen mob. And that's when Fuchs comes in and tries to patch stuff up. They actually do patch stuff up with the Colombians and the Cambodians and all that stuff, and it all works out fine. But earlier, Barry was about to assassinate her, but he hesitates. He's never hesitated before. And she sees his face, and chases him out, but then, because he's so pissed at Fuchs for framing Gene, he's out for blood. And so he shows up, shoots up the place, kills almost all the Chechens that he was there to kill. The Cambodian chick recognized him, and he shoots her right away, but with the bullet that Hank had.
Right.
Because that was his whole bullet thing. He's like, wouldn't that be super cool if it was with the bullet that they sent me? And he kills all of them, except for Cristobal and Hank, of course, and Fuchs gets away. But now, trail's reopened because that redhead detective finds this shit, and Now we're on to season 3.
Season 3, and Gene knows.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because that's what Fuchs whispered to him was, Barry Berkman did this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now, we have these stakes where, I mean, how does Gene react to it? You know?
Yeah, and what's Gene to believe? And that's
Fuchs has taken the main thing other than Sally in Barry's life.
Well, Barry definitely cares more about Gene than Sally.
Yeah,
because he's never had a real true relationship, so he doesn't know how to act with that.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks up to Gene so much.
Yeah.
And he took that from him.
Yeah.
And now it's
we'll see what happens
left
next spring.
In another year, man.
Yeah, they do a good job of that.
They do a great job.
Yeah.
And I love just the blend of action and comedy and drama and the characters. Like you said, it's a character-driven show, and every single character in it is fully fleshed out.
Yeah,
Unlike
it's really determined by 5 characters, like everything that happens, which is, Barry, obviously, Sally, Gene, Fuchs, and then whoever's kind of in charge of the, Chechnyan mob, but it's normally Hank, even when Goron's there.
Yeah, and then they sent that guy to, come take over for Hank, and they show up and see the Cambodians are dead, and that bullet is on her, and he's just like, oh, well, good job, Hank. So Hank's still in charge.
Yeah.
Especially since that kid who took over after freeing them, that Barry trained to be, he was like
that Barry killed.
Prodigy. Barry shoots him right in the face. He kicks the door open, the guy's like, excited, because it's like, Barry, the guy who trained me and gave me a purpose, and he just shoots him right in the face.
Yeah.
Barry is on a warpath.
He's looking for Fuchs, man.
Yep. We'll see where that ends up.
Continue that
but
into
now
season
Fuchs
3.
is really, really fucked.
Yeah.
I don't see him living past season 3.
Nope. I don't know. I mean, now that Gene knows, I don't know how Barry gets past episode 1.
That's the thing. We don't know how they're going to fucking do this shit, man. That's the kind of intensity that keeps you watching.
That's right, man.
That's great writing. They write themselves into a corner and they get out of it every single time. That's like with The Good Place. Every single episode, you're just like, holy shit, how are they keeping the stakes this high? And how are they keeping it rolling? And then you think they're fucked. They're not.
Nope.
There's a solution to everything, even though it's just like constant, dire circumstances.
Yeah.
Great writing, man.
It's the best.
I love it.
I love it too. Fuck, I mean, you got anything else about Barry?
No, I think we're good on Barry, man. We pretty much summarized it and
killed it.
Yeah, I fucking love that show, man.
It's my favorite. I'll probably rewatch it again here soon.
Yeah, I rewatched it after the end of season 1 or 2.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I'm halfway through season 2 again.
There we go.
I'm about to start that little kid father episode.
There we go.
That's so funny.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Fucking A. And then next week, Tropic Thunder?
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, let's do it. Fucking A.
Yeah. That's the name of the game.
Can't wait.
Eminem. So many quotes. I feel like that episode is pretty much just going to be us quoting that movie.
Literally.
It's so great.
But that's okay. That's it. We can do whatever we want.
That was one thing. So they did it this past week on ABC, where they did a live taping with all these celebrities playing, reenacting episodes of All in the Family and the Jeffersons, which I don't know if you've seen All in the Family. It's it's where Rob Reiner started acting, but it's about the Bunker family, and the head guy Archie is like this super bigoted, very right wing guy. And Rob Reiner is his liberal, unemployed son-in-law. And they're always butting heads. And Archie just refuses to change about anything. And it's very, very funny. I found episodes on YouTube, and I'm like, this shit kind of holds up, even though it's in the 70s.
Nice.
A lot of the shit that he says doesn't really fly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's like Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino with his racial slurs that he just throws around. And the Jeffersons was a spinoff of that show surrounding a black family. And, there was crossover. But this thing, it had Woody Harrelson, Marissa Tomei, Ike Barinholtz, Ellie Kemper. Those were all the Bunkers.
Nice.
And then they had Wanda Sykes playing Louise Jefferson, Jamie Foxx playing George Jefferson, Anthony Anderson playing someone else, and then they had a whole other cast. Will Ferrell was in the Jeffersons episode. Kerry Washington and him, they were an interracial couple, which is friction with this black family. It's really, really good. It's on Hulu. I think you should check it out.
Yeah.
But watching all of it was like really cool because they all did it live.
Yeah.
And I was watching it with my dad. So having that, him being there, being like the resident expert because he watched that shit when I was on. But the Jeffersons specifically, theme song in it, they had Jennifer Hudson do it, and it was actually a really cool sequence where she's just singing throughout the entire set of the apartment. But in it, I was just like, I looked up the lyrics, and I remember that part from Tropic Thunder where Brandon T. Jackson, Al Pacino, yells at Robert Downey Jr., calls him the N-word. Downey slaps him and pulls him in close. He's like, for 400 years, that word's been keeping our people down. And then he did the lyrics from the Jeffersons. And when I heard it, I was just like, those are the lyrics.
Man,
and
that's the theme song for the
Man,
Jeffersons.
that's the theme song for the Jeffersons. Just because the theme song don't make it less true.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
It's going to be a great one.
Can't
But
wait.
anyway, so you can find me at It's Butler Time on all social media. Jackie D62 on the Instagram.
Graham, yes.
And you can find this podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and I'm probably forgetting one, but Google Play.
Yes.
That's basically everywhere.
Yeah.
Type in "Don't Miss This," and I feel like a lot of people.
SoundCloud.
Not SoundCloud.
No?
No SoundCloud. I refuse to pay for SoundCloud because they lied to me.
That's fair.
But the people that we've talked to didn't seem to understand that we've put 3 episodes up.
Yeah.
And this is the 4th.
This is the 4th.
So people need to get more on it.
I agree.
That's 3 hours of content.
We just got to let it grow, man.
Content. And honestly, I think, it just gets better and better, man.
I do too. Every time we do it, we get a little bit more comfortable. We figure out a little bit more.
Yep.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I love it.
Talk to you next week.
Later.
Bye.